What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Aha, and we return once again to their 1986 album Scoundrel Days, their second studio album. I'm so very excited, going through this one pretty quickly because I'm enjoying it. But there are multiple more albums after this that I already have in my folder. And indeed, there's now three awesome friends and champions of the channel, Han Solo, Philip, and Seb, as well as Izzy and some other people early on who've made a number of albums available to me before I get the physical copy. So it's greatly appreciated, and in some cases, there's sort of special edition with like a second disc with, B-sides and bonus tunes and so on. So bottom line, shout out to all them, and indeed, we have so much more Aha to go through, so big ups to all the people who found the channel and already made this a really fun deep dive and journey, even in its like germinal fledgling stages. So bottom line, big ups to all you. We are up to a tune on Scoundrel Days that is called The Weight of the Wind. Very interested by the phrasing. Obviously, the weight of the world is a phrase that is often used, when one is bearing the burden seemingly well beyond their own personal scope and life, and, must, hold the weight for others, and indeed for perhaps the entire world. Weight of the wind, though, different sort of visual or sort of conceptual sense, even without a sort of mythological interpretation or something that jumps out to me immediately. Obviously, wind is a very sort of prominent motif, not just in sort of older mythologies and so on, but art in a number of different forms. Wind, in some senses, considered sort of the conveyor of death. In a lot of artistic sort of visual representations, a character will die and a wind will sort of blow across, and there's sort of a silence in that moment, and it's often symbolic. And indeed, the very concept of spirit, if you didn't know, it sort of goes back to the ancient Greek, and it was used in relation to the sort of life breath, because ancient thinkers noticed that living things, especially macroscopic beings like humans and other mammals and so on, breathe, and when they sought or when they ended their life, they no longer breathed, and so breath became associated with the sort of essence of life, and that was sort of the meaning of spirit, is sort of breath or to breathe. So yeah, ultimately it's an interesting phrase in the sense that wind could be in that sense related to life and death or some sort of vital essence, but the weight of the wind, I don't know, weight in that context, it sounds ominous, or it sounds at least burdensome, it sounds heavy. So it doesn't necessarily strike me as a phrase that may relate to wind as death or as a life essence leaving, but it definitely does suggest some sort of weight or heaviness. So yeah, it's an interesting phrase. It's very poetic. It has a literary feel to it, which I enjoy a great deal. So yeah, we'll have to see. Again, I imagine it to be on some level figurative. I doubt it'll be about atmospheric pressure per se, but bottom line, I am intrigued because, like I said, it sounds like the beginning of a Robert Frost poem or something. So let's get to it. This is Aha, The Weight of the Wind, from their 1986 album Scoundrel Days. Yes! The synth bass from these guys. Give me that again, come on. I love this already. Full angelic style with delivery. And then I say that and he does that. Something about weighing you down, and then the last line will never never be found, but I didn't, the words in between I missed. Jealous mind? Hard and shoulder. There's like the trap wash cabin pressure there. Love it. Got a little funk to that. Almost kind of like a Caribbean feel, like a keyboard steel drum kind of vibe. I love this. High chimes up there. And a guitar just piercing through it all. May not be found. Lost her forever. There were lines about like speaking into the void. Like we're covering the words that we lost. And the synth bass through it all. Should be illegal to fade out when someone is singing like that. It sounds like it's not just Morton, right? It sounds like it's either his voice layered again, or they're like harmonizing. Or actually, it sounded more polyphonic there. It didn't sound like a full harmony. They were sort of like, offset from each other. But another really cool tune, and I feel like I was getting close to accessing some of the lines and sort of piecing them together. But I definitely got to listen to it a couple more times. But yeah, it does sound like, someone has lost a partner, a lover, an intimate, a special person, and it sounds like, they've been lost forever. And again, there were like lines about like, words spoken into the void. They were lost, but they were found again. So yeah, there's some interesting themes going on, but I'm not quite sure how it all fits together. As I always say, do let me know if there's a line or two in particular that are sort of insightful or sort of key to sort of looking at the themes and the ideas behind the song. So yeah, once again, a top tune. It was another one where the production really stood out. The sort of like kind of bass hit opening, and then that synth bass I mentioned before. Their work on the keyboards and the synth bass in particular, I've really enjoyed it in several of their tracks so far. So that, it's standing out to me as a hallmark of their work, and just, the production quality overall, and again, the chronology of their tunes. I really enjoy the way they put tracks together. So yeah, and again, like my jokes about fade out endings notwithstanding, at least when they do fade out endings, it seems like they're a bit longer and they're a bit more like, gradual, so you can sort of like, feel the tune kind of like, extending forever, as, I know that's the idea. Whereas I mentioned before, there's some other fade out endings where they happen more rapidly, and it almost feels like, they couldn't quite figure out how to end the song more than they were trying to like perpetuate a sort of atmosphere or theme indefinitely. Regardless, another great tune. Let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.